The best. Though I did learn moving out to Eastern Canada that what I call smokies in Western Canada is not what you call smokies out here. You call them sausages, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because they are sausages.
Smokies. Smokies.
That's the brand.
No, it's not the brand. There is a brand. Smokies on These are the very in-depth conversations we get into at 4 o'clock in the morning. Hey, this morning we are following not only the weather in Canada, but also obviously hurricane season. And Hurricane Gert is the latest storm. And we've got a view from space. This is our well offshore. So that is some good news. But there will be a Canadian impact Wednesday and Thursday for the south coast of both Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. You can anticipate some higher swells. Wave heights definitely amplified for both Wednesday and Thursday. Plus, for the southern Grand Banks heading into Thursday, hurricane force winds are possible. And you can see Gert stays Category 1 strength all the way as it skirts right off the south coast of Newfoundland. Then it will enter in towards cooler water and begin to weaken. Here at home this morning, if you're in our nation's capital or in Montreal, you're likely waking up to an early alarm clock from Mother Nature. We've got some thunderstorms this morning. Low that's in northern Quebec is providing widespread instability across portions of eastern Ontario, both north and south, and then in through Quebec. And that's giving us some thunderstorms this morning. Pretty hefty downpours in between Ottawa and Montreal. Now, in eastern Ontario today, right through the afternoon, there is the risk of severe weather, and your biggest risk for these thunderstorms are going to be very substantial winds. Plus, you'll have heavy downpours embedded in those storms as well. But that will persist, and that's not the only area likely to see widespread thunderstorms. You see pretty well from the east coast of Superior down towards Windsor, right across the boundary, and then creeping in towards New Brunswick. We've got continued thunderstorms right into our afternoon. Now, this clears west to east. So Ontario, you'll see that clearing likely around the supper hour, western Quebec as well. But for New Brunswick, it will likely persist up until the late hours overnight, even tracking this precipitation through Wednesday morning as well. Now, as Gert moves its way northward, as I mentioned, it doesn't have an immediate impact on land, but some of that moisture is going to fuel up towards this rainfall on Wednesday and Thursday. So we could see these totals amplify as we get a little bit closer to the end of the week. Now, for Wednesday evening, that moves up towards Newfoundland and Labrador and continues Thursday, but that's just what's happening for the East Coast. We slide all the way back to Ontario. We start watching system number 2 move its way across the Great Lakes, bringing widespread rainfall into line right across Lake Superior, all the way down towards Lake Ontario, even as we head into the wee hours of Friday morning. So Wednesday's kind of the sandwich sunny day for Ontario. Today, though, you do need your umbrella, depending on where you're tuning in from. That's just a look at some of the big active weather systems we have in the east. Coming up, we'll detail the heat in the west. For now, here's your local forecast. Country, take a look at your current temp in the single-digit range. We also have a lot of active weather, not just in eastern Canada, but also in the west. Lingering thunderstorms this morning, stretching from central Alberta on the east side through Saskatchewan and then down south of the border through the Dakotas. Plus, we've got some thunderstorms this morning in eastern Ontario that are just pushing into Quebec this morning. So it's a bit of a rumbly start to the day. Montreal heads up. You've had that rain already this morning, but you can probably hear the thunder. What do? You stay inside if you can. Just obviously practice safe thunderstorm practices. This morning we also have quite a bit of humidity east of that thunderstorm activity down through Atlantic Canada, particularly through the maritime provinces this morning. So it is going to be a rather humid day, but still an enjoyable one. We've got more cloud today than we had yesterday for the maritime provinces, but you see Newfoundland much more sunny in comparison. So here's a look at those daytime highs. Pretty nice, but again, it will feel warmer because of that humidity. Lab City, you've got some rain that will persist for the next couple of days. Now, in through Quebec, we've got the potential for some severe weather later on today in the form of thunderstorms from Quebec City through your eastern townships, Montreal as well. We're also seeing that persist for Ottawa through eastern Ontario. Your biggest factor with these storms is likely to be very strong wind gusts, heavy downpours as well. Generally, across southern Ontario, it's a bit of a showery day. You want to bring your umbrella with you. And then if we follow a lineup from Windsor to the east side of Superior, I'm going to give a risk of showers in Barrie, Sudbury, and Timmins as well, even though it's not indicated here. Further west from that, that's where we can enjoy more sunshine. Now, across the country, uniform. Can I just point this out?
I think meaning. You think it's a difference to the police officers, the fact that they're officers?
Well, here's why. Because in my younger years, at late nights after nights out, I have tried to walk through a drive-thru, and you don't get served.
Oh, really?
No. In fact, it's a safety hazard. A lot of them cite. So you can't get your burger and fries at.
I'd like to challenge.
Oh, I'm so lame now, but I used to be cool. I'm really cool.
I believe it.
Just stop laughing at me. You guys are cool. I worked in a bar even. I used to.
Oh, wow. Dangerous.
Whoa.
I even worked in a bar.
Yeah. Now that I'm
in the afternoon.
Yes.
No, 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. shift all through university. That's how I put myself through school. So while I was very responsible working in it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to move on because clearly I'm not cool in this situation. And I'm going to nerd out with Hurricane Gert this morning, the latest hurricane to develop in the Atlantic Basin. This storm will generally stay well away from land, so very minimal impact to not just the U.S., but also Canada as well. But there is a Canadian story in that by the time we head into Wednesday and Thursday, we will likely see amplified wave heights along the southern coast of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland as well. And for the southern Grand Banks, that's where we could experience hurricane-force winds into Thursday. We'll also see moisture fueling from Gert up towards this precipitation that's slowly tracking its way further north. We could see some of that moisture amplify because of the proximity of Gert as we head into the next couple of days. Gert. It's a good name, hey? First we had Franklin, now we have Gert. What's happening? Hey, this morning we've got thunderstorms around the capital region in eastern Canada, but not just around the capital region is where we're watching. Also in northern Ontario, we've got not only storms, but also some mist and fog. So you might be encountering reduced visibility right around Lake Superior, and that will last for the next couple of hours, but it's gone shortly before lunchtime. So in terms of those thunderstorms, now pushing in towards Montreal, a very loud start to the morning, and heavy downpours right through that morning drive. Heads up through eastern Ontario, southern Quebec, even into this afternoon. Severe weather is a possibility with the likelihood of very strong wind gusts with these thunderstorms. Atlantic Canada, generally pretty nice day. We've got a humid day ahead for the Maritime provinces with a whole lot of cloud and some mist this morning, but generally it means this afternoon temperatures right around seasonal in the mid-20s. We slide over to Western Canada, and we're seeing, while it's moderate in the south, for further north in Manitoba, heat warnings do persist again today. So likely into the afternoon, daytime highs close to about 29 or 30 degrees Celsius with little reprieve overnight. We've also got this band of rain pushing its way across Saskatchewan through portions of Alberta as well. It's creeping into southern Manitoba, and that really is going to be indicative of your weather pattern later today. Now, air quality advisories still persist in the BC interior. They've been lifted for Alberta, but it is possible into the next couple of days as a westerly flow takes over at the upper levels that you could see into Thursday, possibly that smoke reappearing Thursday and Friday. So just keep that in mind. It could be a smokier end to your work week. Canada, here is, we're actually touching the water. Of course, we would call them a water spout, but otherwise they would just be a funnel cloud until they made contact with the ground. If you ever see anything like that, you know what I'm about to say, but make sure you're a safe distance away and you can seek shelter indoors if you need to. Now, this morning across the country, if you're about to head Montreal, but we're still dealing with active weather. We go well south of the border, Hurricane Gert following this storm that will move its way right along the Canadian coastline as we head into the latter part of your work week. And there will be some implications, including high tides for Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, plus stronger winds as we head into the end of the week. And we'll detail that coming up through the program, even into tomorrow. But it's this low over Hudson Bay that's prompting some unsettled weather in eastern Canada, and that's where we really focus this weather hit. Western Canada, I've got details about your heat and air quality coming up in the next half hour. But this morning, right around the capital region through towards Montreal, we've got a thunderstorm still pushing through and some pretty decent rainfall totals. When we start to get into these yellows and oranges in our radar, you know the rainfall intensity is high, and of course it's right during the morning drive. Now, even into this afternoon, that same spot through eastern Ontario, southern Quebec, we could see the development of severe thunderstorms later on today. Strong wind gusts are going to be your biggest concern. It also pushes in towards New Brunswick as we head into tonight, and these storms clear west to east. So Ontario, Quebec, you'll see that clearing right around the supper hour, but right up until the evening into the overnight hours in the Maritime provinces, expect to be dealing with the effects of Mother Nature's fury right up until just after midnight local time. That's the east. As I mentioned, Western Canada, we've got your forecast coming up. Now here's your local condition.
She is wild. Earlier, did you know that she worked at a bar?
Right. I was so cool way back when. Hey, you just got to hope if you're the person who possibly triggered that foam, though, that it was mechanical error, right? Like mechanical or human, you're just like, please let it have been mechanical. Please don't let me be the person responsible for the giant.
Do you still have your glow sticks, or do you?
Oh my God. No, I was not of the glow stick variety myself.
The whistles?
No.
No.
You guys are awful. But all I say,
nobody
mix is thankful I grew up in the age before social media, so that I can't prove how much of a wild child I was. You'll just have to take my word for it and the increasing warm temperature of my cheeks. Canada, it's increasingly warm depending on where you are. As that sun rises and slowly the day warms up, we are seeing a nice day ahead in Atlantic Canada, though touch humid, sure, in the maritime provinces, and a little more cloud for New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. The sun is pretty well dominant in Newfoundland, and up towards Lab City, you do have a risk of showers. Possible thunderstorms, we've already seen those this morning around Montreal. That'll continue on and off through the day today, not just in Montreal, but through eastern Ontario, pretty well the east of Superior, down towards Windsor, and then in through Quebec, and then touching in towards New Brunswick by tonight. We've got those thunderstorms. Now, you can see that for sure reflected in the forecast. It will be humid otherwise. Further north, we start to see a little more sunshine in Ontario, 23 today in Thunder Bay and 26 in Dryden. Showers, though, as we head over into Manitoba, and we've got this band of rain that's moving its way across Saskatchewan this morning, slowly creeping into southwest Manitoba, and that is going to bring a wet forecast. With that precipitation moving its way eastward, you can see a divide in the temperatures. Still in northern Manitoba, we've got heat warnings. Some of the hottest temperatures in our country, well north of where we would expect them to be. But 21 today in Brandon, 25 in Regina. For Alberta, we are seeing a mix of sun and cloud, and then temperatures moderate in towards BC. Remember last week we were talking about Kelowna getting up to about 36, 37, much cooler into the high 20s through this week. So there's that rain I was mentioning, and then north of that, that's where we have the heat warning still persisting. Daytime highs, 29 to 30 degrees Celsius, dropping to a measly about 14 overnight. So that continues for sure today. We also see that air quality advisory continuing through the BC interior. Air quality has vastly improved in Alberta. A couple different reasons. One of them has to do with the rain moving through. So that's dragging down any particulate matter right to the ground and clearing out the air. But further north, we still have air quality advisories. Smoke may persist into the next couple of days into Alberta because of this westerly flow that takes over through today into Thursday. So heads up, it could possibly not be the end of the precipitation. We'll go over what's to come in the next couple of days in the next half hour for Western Canada. But it is going to be, in some areas, a bit wet right as we head towards the end of your work week. That's a look at your weather this morning. Now we'll send it over to Ben.
Thanks, Kelsey.
We're not seeing that well-defined eye, but wind speeds right now are 120 kilometers an hour, and it will likely stay Category 1 strength as it slides its way closer towards Newfoundland. The impact for Canada, while not on land, will likely be elevated rip currents and tides heading into Wednesday and Thursday for the southern coast of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, and the southern Grand Banks will likely also see hurricane-force winds in towards Thursday. Once we get past Thursday, and once it moves into cooler water, it will begin to deteriorate and break down. Eastern Canada this morning, we're seeing a lot of unsettled weather, particularly through Quebec this morning, but also a wee bit pushing its way across the Great Lakes. Pretty well from Superior south to Windsor and then eastward towards New Brunswick. That's where we have a risk of thunderstorm developing into the afternoon, first for the communities further west, and then into this evening for communities further east. So heads up, that's what's coming your way. This morning, thunderstorms are still persisting just outside of Montreal this morning. Western Canada, heat warning still in place in northern Manitoba. It is hot, hot, hot today. We're talking high 20s, low 30s during the day and dropping to the mid-teens overnight. That is well above normal for the region. We're also seeing air quality advisories still persist through BC. They've been dropped in Alberta thanks to an improvement in the air quality. Part of that coming from this precipitation that's now moving its way out of the province in towards Saskatchewan. But a number of communities likely to deal with some rain through the day today. Regina, I think you'll be sunny, but further north and west of Saskatoon, you can see that rain continuing through southern Manitoba as well next couple of days. We slide out and we take a look at the BC coast. We haven't had a lot of rain, but over the next couple of weeks, there is considerable belief that there will be enough impulses to change the BC forecast. Let's hope that rain slides its way further south over the next few weeks. Now here's a look at your local forecast.